Dr. Lehman, is it true that you are a trained forensic pathologist?
That is correct.
So this means that you are specially trained to perform autopsies, investigate suspicious deaths, and determine how and when a person has died?
Correct.
Is it true that you examined the autopsy report of Florence Small?
That is correct.
And isn't it true that this is the only piece of evidence that you have had access to regarding this case?
Correct.
You were not at the crime scene, correct?
That would be correct.
And you did not have access to other pieces of evidence that are being used in this case to find Mr. Franks guilty, correct?
No, I do not have access.
You also did not talk to any of the first responders or witnesses to this crime, did you?
No, I did not.
And in your evidence report, you wrote that you do not agree that stomach contents are a reliable way to determine time of death. Is that right?
Yes, that is what I wrote.
Now I'm going to discuss some of your past works and articles. Is it true that you wrote the article, Experimental Studies on the Presumption of the Time After Food Intake Stomach Contents?
Yes.
And in this article, you discuss that through experimentation of the stomach contents of dogs after death, you were able to determine the time of death, correct?
Yes.
And isn't it true that you wrote the article estimating time of death reference?
Yes, I did write that article.
Is it true that in this article you wrote that undigested stomach contents mean that the time of death had to have been between 0 and 2 hours?
Yes.
You also write that if food is found in the small intestine, the time of death was between 4 and 6 hours since their last meal, correct?
Yes.
And if the food is found in the large intestine, then the death occurred 12 or more hours after eating, correct?
Yes.
So based on this paper that you wrote, explaining that the different stages of digestion determine a window of death, is it safe to say that because Mrs. Florence had undigested food in her stomach, that her time of death would have been between 0 and 2 hours?
Yes, that would be correct.
No further questions.